It's a win for Zalmi. Played one run in this match. It's a big six. Karachi have won.
It's a young franchise, but they've done it.
What a stab!
It's time for HBL PSL cricket fever to hit the twin cities of Rawalpindi and Islamabad. Cities with a glorious past and also a modern lifestyle. Much like the two teams in action today that combine both youthful exuberance.
Couple of bounces into the fence. It's a good strike from Tayyab Tahir.
And vintage gold.
Again, Malik goes high. It's just gone over.
All eyes are on the rising stars of Pakistan cricket.
Oh, what a shot. What a shot.
Battle lines are drawn between the two most experienced campaigners. A mouth-watering contest between the spin wizard,
The brilliance of Tabraiz Shamsi.
and the batting maestro.
Hit through the line and all the way.
Can Karachi continue their resurgence? Or will Peshawar get back to winning ways? Stay tuned for yet another high-stakes duel.
Beautiful evening here as the PSL moves to Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium, and it's going to be another fascinating contest. We'll get to see Karachi Kings in action once again. Remember, they won their last game and they are up against Peshawar Zalmi in match 17 of the HBL PSL. Hello and welcome to Pitchside once again. This is a new venue altogether, Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium. It has to be one of my favorite ones, and it's a beautiful evening here. We're talking about the venue changing. I'll tell you that there are some new faces that have come into our team as well. It's a bit of a surprise, but can you take a wild guess who I've got with me today? I recognize those fingers, you know, I recognize those fingers. We talk about PSL veterans, then there's no better and no bigger name than Alan Wilkins. Alan Wilkins has joined us, and just fresh from South Africa. Fresh from South Africa, Sana Mir has also joined us. So we have a new team altogether, and I'm really looking forward to working with them. Wilco, a very warm welcome to you. It's just so nice to have you back in Pakistan.
Zainab, it's amazing to be back here. Obviously, I wasn't here last year. I've just spent 2 weeks with Sana in South Africa, where we were with the ICC T20 Women's World Cup, which was fantastic. But to be here, to be part of HBL PSL again, it's like homecoming. Put it that way. It's like homecoming. And the welcome from you and from Sana, from everyone, is just first class, except Danny Morrison.
Yeah, you can't expect that.
What would you expect?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you don't get any different from him. But Sana, you're back. Bit of a weather change coming from Cape Town. The sun was glorious there. Everything was beautiful. And here you are wearing this jumper.
Absolutely. I came in a shirt and forgot that I need a jumper. So yeah, I think South Africa was really sunny. The matches were, of course, in the day. It's a night game here, and we are back at one of our favorite venues at Spindi Stadium. The crowd, we always know that it's been amazing, and it's great to be with all of you.
Well, it's great to have you guys. And just to give you guys an update in terms of where the teams are standing, let's have a look at the points table. And Multan Sultans, they are on number 2 after Lahore Qalandars have taken that top spot. They are on 8 points. Of course, the net run rate, because of that, they are ahead. And Karachi Kings on 4 points. A bit of a resurgence from them, much needed in the HBL PSL. We needed that performance from them in the last game. Peshawar Zalmi, well, they need a win as well. They started off, they won 2 games, but they've lost a couple of games before. Remember, the top 4 teams will qualify for the playoffs. Well, we've got the Karachi Kings squad right in front of us. MI2T, the captain, a few changes. James Vince has gone back, but you've also got Matthew Wade. And then Tayyip Tahir, what a performance by him in that previous game. It's just nice to have somebody come up and play his first game, you know, debut for the HBL PSL, and then he delivered as required. Well, I think the one thing that they really desperately needed was a win. Shoaib Malik, we've seen him have a couple of partnerships in the HBL PSL. He's always been in the mix of things. MI2T has been leading well. He's been taking wickets. And yeah, I mean, just back to the cricket now. Sana, I mean, you've followed the HBL PSL so far. What do you make of Karachi Kings? How do you think their campaign has been up till now?
I think they finally got their 11 right in the last couple of games. They've got the spin attack, which is looking pretty good now, with Shoaib Malik operating in 4 overs, MI2T and Tabriz Shamsi. And I think their fast bowling still can improve, but overall they do look like a proper unit now with the different selection policies that they have included in the last couple of games.
Wilco, did you get a chance to see Tayyip Tahir at all in that previous game? He did really well for Karachi. Haider Ali was playing instead of him, and then they brought this young guy in, and who comes in and not exactly entirely young. I wouldn't say he's about 28, 29, but at least he's come up to that expectation of him in that previous game.
Well, absolutely, and that's what the Kings need. They need young talent to come through. They need somebody to stand up and be counted. This was a wonderful innings. Look at the strike rate, 65 from 46. And you've got to impose yourself. This is what this fella's done. There is competition for places in that top order for Karachi. But if he carries on like this, there's a little bit of improvisation. But this is a fine innings. And, you know, once somebody has got an innings like this, then you have to give him a few matches. You know, don't play him for one. If he fails in the next, drop him. Play him for the next 3 games at least, whatever he does. But that to me was great batting.
Talking about giving opportunities, Tabriz Shamsi finally got his opportunity in that last game that Karachi Kings played, and there was so much conjecture around why he's not playing. He's, you know, you look at where he stands in that ICC rankings as a T20 bowler, and he took 3 wickets.
Absolutely not surprising that he took 3 wickets, but surprising that he was sitting outside, because the kind of variation he offers as a spinner on in T20 tracks, if you can turn the ball both ways, if you can bring it in and take it out from the batter, this is example of how indecisive the batters were, because they don't know where the ball is going. Is it leaving them or is it coming towards them? And I think that's where he's brilliant, and that's why his inclusion to the Karachi team has really boosted their bowling unit.
Well, they are up against Babar Azam's team, Peshawar Zalmi, who seem to have not gained momentum at this point of time in the HBL PSL. They haven't really been clicking as a side. They've got the resources though. You look at that squad and it's not a bad squad at all. Saim Ayub, he's been quite the star for Peshawar Zalmi. In fact, the breakthrough star, I would say, for Peshawar Zalmi. Mohammad Haris at the top, Babar Azam, and Hazmatullah Omarzai is the new addition for them. Shanaka is out of the HBL PSL, for those wondering. And then you've got Usman Qadir as a spin option. So they've got that lineup, Wilco. I mean, but their bowling has not really been up to the mark. They conceded 241 runs in that game against Lahore Qalandars.
The numbers are bad. When we just showed the log there, the HBL PSL log, you saw the net run rate. That is going to take a lot of catching up, and you know, that sort of middle order, that late middle order, and the bowlers who are contributing, they're like a box of damp fireworks. It's horrible, and so they've got to get firing today. By the way, what's it like to see Babar Azam in a yellow shirt? There's so many photographs and pictures of him in a blue shirt, but there he is. He's got to inspire the side. The bowling's got to come from somewhere, because these are two teams. I asked Sana just before we went on air, what's the equivalent of eBay in Pakistan? Daras. So each of these teams, they both want to go onto Daras and exchange their bowling for their batting and the batting for the bowling, because you've got one team that's firing with batting and their bowling's not good, and the other way around. So Zalmi's bowling has got to catch up, otherwise they're going to get too far behind because of that net run rate.
Well, they're going to be very happy with this free promotion that you just did here for them. If you're listening, then you might have an ambassador waiting in the wings. All right, we're talking about Karachi Kings. One thing that has worked for them is their spin attack. Let's look into this in more detail on the numbers game. Well, control is one of the things that is key for a spinner, apart from the wicket-taking ability, and Karachi Kings is right up there. You look at not just the wickets column, but you also look at the economy, 7.32. So it shows to you that their spinners have done well. Imad Wasim himself, as captain, has done well in the power play, and you know, it's been a sort of a comeback for Imad Wasim as well. Sana, you look at his career. Remember, he wasn't really in the national side for the last 1 year, but he seems to have done well in this tournament.
I think credit where it's due. I think the way he has really worked on his game, it's brilliant, because when you're out of the team, there are people who can lose the motivation, but he has really improved himself. Whether it's in his batting, you can just see the strike rate. He's striking it at 170 plus, and his average has been brilliant as well. And with the wickets as well, I think Tabriz Shamsi has just come in, so most of the wickets that the spinners have got, Imad is in with the wickets column there also. So of course, when the captain is leading from the front, it's easier to lift the team, and that's what they have been able to do in the last 3 games. They won 2 out of 1, and what Wilco was talking about, what the positive for Karachi Kings is their net run rate. They have lost 3 games very close, 2-run margin, 5-run margin, 6-run margin. So all they need is to finish the games well, and they'll be back in running.
All right, yeah, Imad Wasim doing well, augurs well for Karachi Kings. He's striking it well, he's taking wickets. That was the numbers game for you. All right, 2 new faces. I'm sure they've got plenty to add in terms of insight and just a whole lot on the HBL PSL level. It's just nice to have them back in the studio. We'll take a short breather and we'll be back just in a bit. Back on pitch side, and we're talking about Karachi Kings. Because we're talking about Karachi Kings, Matthew Wade, he made a sweeping statement with all those sweep shots that he played for Karachi Kings in that previous game. Because we're talking about sweep shots, it's an effective way to dismantle or disrupt the spinners or any bowler that's at display. Because we're talking about them, let's head over to Nick Knight, who's going to talk to us in more detail about how to play it.
Right then, just a couple of things to note then with the sweeps and the reverse sweeps. It's such an important shot, and of course in the modern game, not just in this format actually, but in all 3 or 4 facets of the game. Okay, what are important? Well, I'm going to start with the first thing here. You've got a couple of choices. 1, you lead with your front leg. 2, you lead with your back leg. Let me just show you the advantages of both and perhaps the disadvantage. I lead with my front leg. What happens? It's just like a normal forward defensive. If I play this shot here, it's really simple. All I do is lead with my front foot, and then the work is done with the rotation of the hips sweeps here in that position and keeping the bat up nice and high. Now the only thing with this is it makes it a lot easier to hit in that direction there, so behind point on the offside. If I just demonstrate that, it's probably easier to see. You see the position there and then the angle of the bat. It means pretty much I have to hit it behind square. What happens if I lead with my back leg here? Have a look at this. Thing to look for is the body rotation here. Now then, I go, whoa. Now, as I do that, what happens? My hands are up high, the bat is up further behind, and therefore accessing the ball means I can now hit in front of square. I can now access the extra cover region, and I can point, and I can go behind square. So all of a sudden, being a bit braver and a bit more, perhaps, maybe letting the bowler know what I'm doing a bit earlier, with that movement there, now you can see all of a sudden I can hit extra cover. I can hit there, here. So you've got a couple of choices in summary. One, you go there. Two, you go there. Let's come over to here. The most important thing, though, forget that for a moment, the most important thing, once you've made that choice about front foot or back foot going forward, is the body shape of the shot. So this is where I think it's absolutely key. The really good sweepers and reverse sweepers get a small stride in, and the reason I've got all these balls here is because I don't know, it's a predetermined shot. I don't know what length the bowler's going to bowl. So if I get my body weight, head over the knee, and I get myself in a really strong position here, I've got the chance of hitting that length. I've got the chance of hitting that length, all right? If I go with the other leg, I've got the chance then of hitting that length and maybe even that length. But it's this position here that is absolutely crucial. Head over the knee, get there, smother the ball, get into that strong base position. What you don't want to be is back in this position here, so then I'm very restricted about what length I can hit. So for me, in summary, that is the key point. Get that body position in a strong forward position, get over the ball and choose which leg to go with. There you go, a couple of things for you to know.
Yeah, great reflexes there, Nick. I mean, getting all those strides in and strides out, but just in terms of this shot, it's often spoken about as a shot that is effective against spinners. And now, Sana, you being a spinner, I mean, does it confuse a spinner sometimes? I mean, do you think it breaks your rhythm as a spinner when you have a batsman sort of imposing themselves by opting to use that shot?
So generally when a batter goes to sweep shot, it's about disrupting the length of the spinner, because generally if you are bowling at a good length and a good flight, you can trouble the batter. But once the length and the flight can be changed because of this shot, because when someone is sweeping me as a spinner, I would try to go fuller, because at this length, good length, it's easier to connect with the sweep shot. And like Nick showed us, with now feet movement, your head position, you can actually have longer levers and change the length of the spinner. So the biggest weapon for a spinner is their flight and their length. After that, once the length is there, then comes the spin, how much spin you can extract. So I think sweep really disturbs any spinner, and then your lengths have to be very different.
Some of the masters of sweep shot that we've seen historically, Wilco, who comes to your mind when you think about, the men or the women who've played the sweep shot really effectively?
I think one of the greatest from this country is Javed Miandad. Javed absolutely got into the minds of bowlers to such an extent. You see, and Sana makes a very good point, because when you get into the mind of a bowler, the bowler starts losing his nerve, starts losing his concentration. And if you've got a player like that who's playing with you, and incidentally, if Nick Knight coached me to play like that, you need a chiropractor to get me standing up again. So that was brilliant from Nick. It was a great exposition in how to play the sweep shot. I'm not sure how he got into some of those positions, but it's right. And see Mohammad Rizwan. Mohammad Rizwan, modern day, is a fantastic sweeper of the cricket ball. And what it does, it's a little bit, if you're a seamer and a batsman starts walking down the pitch at you, that also starts to play on your mind as a bowler, because you think, oh heck, I've just bowled a really good swing delivery there, and it's gone for 4 or 6. So that starts playing in the mind, and that's why the sweep is used as much as it is.
Yeah, we've seen even within Pakistan, we're talking about Javed Miandad. Sarfraz in the current setup, he's been one guy who's really mastered the skill. Yunus Khan in test matches, we've seen him as well. So it is definitely a weapon, I would say, for a batsman to, if they want to dominate spinners. And it's good to see that we've seen that on display in the HBL PSL. We'll take another break and catch you guys just in a minute for the toss and the pitch report. Back on pitch side, and we're just moments away from the toss. Mohammad Haris definitely will be looking to score some runs today for Peshawar Zalmi. Imad Wasim, well, we're talking about the resurgence of Karachi Kings. Babar Azam, they're definitely looking for a win as well. Jimmy Neesham, quite expensive in that previous game, and I think that they would definitely want their fortunes to change. Peshawar Zalmi. Nice rivalry between the two sides, Babar Azam versus Imad Wasim.
I think this is key. Honestly, Zainab, I think it's key. Babar Azam, you know, he's in the yellow of Zalmi now, and you've got Imad Wasim, who played under Babar for, you know, so many seasons. And the point you made earlier in this broadcast that Imad Wasim's been out of the national reckoning. This is his chance to make his mark against the great Babar Azam. And I think if he scores one here, bragging rights. Let's tick that box. Thanks, Barbara. Thanks for coming. I'm the captain.
Yeah, that's what the HBL PSL is all about, Wilco. We're talking about rivalries. It is about Imad Wasim versus Babar Azam, and that's what we're going to see just now, because we are ready with the toss, and it's over to the naughty Danny Morrison, who's out there with the two captains, and Bazat Khan for the pitch report.
Yes, it is that time. The BFI coin toss. Kushum Deed Pende. We're back here, we love it. And the men alongside that matter, Mr. Roshan Mahanama from Sri Lanka is our match referee. Baba Aramse with the toss. Baba Azam, here, just slowly, because you're tossing and you're calling Imad Wasim of the Kings. Now, just that other little stat that we don't often get out early. Batting first out of the last 20 games is 115. Batting first. Interesting, isn't it? Looks a goodie. Let's go.
Tails.
Tails is the call. It is tails.
Oh.
I'm bowling.
Amar, but you're not going to bat, are you? I just hear that. You're going to?
Ball first.
Why?
I think it's a new surface. If it was in Karachi or Lahore, we would have bat first, but in the practice, well, it's swinging as well, so I think we're going to go for bowling.
Look, this is the #1 pitch. I like what I see. A few cracks in it, but generally it looks a goodie to bat on too.
It's a very good wicket. Usually in Pindi it's flat, but I'm hoping that the dew comes in, although the overcast condition. But the thing is, if you bowl well and bat well, you have to win the game somehow. But the thing is, their team is doing very well, apart from a couple of mistakes in our camp. But now we're going to bowl first and see how it goes.
And you guys are a bit pumped from your last game. Did well, changing a winning side.
Yes, unfortunately, Wincy has gone back playing for England, so Adam Rosington comes in, and instead of Musa, Amir is back.
Oh, very exciting. Go well. Thank you, Amar.
Thank you.
Well, as I mentioned that stat, he wants to bowl, Ahmad. I mean, you're not unhappy batting?
To be honest, we are so bowling first. But we will try to run on the boat and put pressure on them, and I think pitch looked like very good, and we tried to 180 runs on the boat.
I was going to say, you've played a lot here recently for Pakistan. The surface slides on. Do you change your team from the last match?
Yes, we have a couple of changes, but I'm not remember. But I'm telling you who is playing. Majing is playing Sibullah, Azmatullah, Mujib and Amir Jamal.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, Bubba. Righto, the news from the middle is that Imad Wasim, the Kings, won it and going to go up front and bowl on a very good surface. To me, when I look at it and the mosaic nature of it, I've got Bazat Khan, who's at home. Lovely to be home, Baz. Well, first I've got to ask you, how's the family?
beautiful.
Oh,
Lovely,
good.
lovely.
And now this pitch looks beautiful as well.
Yeah, looks lovely. Looks, there is a few cracks, but don't worry about those. The ball will come on. This is a very high scoring venue. As you know, very boutique sort of ground, smallish ground. So boundary options are the way to go. It's a boundary hitting ground. And yeah, runs on the board, yes, but it's difficult defending here too. Once you get on a roll as a batter, it's very difficult to stop. Remember the test match here?
Yeah.
England got 500. Whisper this, England got 500 in 90 overs.
I think I'm going to Baz's place to bat on his table, because this is what Baz has bought us, a tabletop from his house.
Yeah, quite a few changes for both the sides. Karachi Kings making a couple of changes. Peshawar Zalmi making a couple of changes as well. 4 changes actually for Peshawar Zalmi. Karachi Kings, James Vince is obviously out. Adam Rosington comes in, and Mohammad Amir is also the change. He was obviously injured, but he's back now for them.
I think they chose the right match to bring Mohammad Amir back. There have been a lot of talks about Mohammad Amir versus Babar Azam, and of course that will be a contest in itself as well. I do like the changes Zalmi made. Karachi, of course, had one forced change because of James Vince, but I really like that Mujibur Rahman is there for Peshawar Zalmi, because their spin department looked really weak. So if they really reinforce their spin department with Mujibur Rahman.
Adam Rosington, have you seen a lot of him, Wilco?
Well, look, he's stepped up because there's so much franchise cricket around the world now, Zainab. So somebody like Adam Rosington, who's a good county cricketer in England, this is his platform, this is his stage to show people that he can play. Do you remember Phil Salt, who came here, I think it was with Islamabad years ago? He's now an England player. So
Tim David.
Yeah.
Remember how PSL changed it for Tim David?
Absolutely. So you can come to these franchise tournaments and make a mark. But the duel that I'm looking for, if Mohammad Amir is smart and his captain's won the toss, he just wants to look at, do you remember how Shaheen Shah Afridi got that ball to swing late and demolish Babar Azam's stumps with the in-swinger? That's what Mohammad Amir's got to do tonight to Babar Azam. He's got to swing.
He will need a little bit of pace.
I was just going to say.
No,
he will be needing
not just the swing, but
he's got to do it. If he's smart, he's got to think about it, and he can trap Babar Azam, not as quick as Shaheen, but that left arm, boom. Thank you.
Well, it's always a fascinating contest when there's a left-arm fast bowler and you have a world-class batsman at display. These are the matchups that we enjoy in the HBL PSL. Now, I'll take another break, and on the other side, we'll have a closer look at the teams. Nice crowd building up here in Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium as the PSL moves in this part of Pakistan. We're talking about this game in particular, Karachi Kings, and there have been a couple of changes from both the sides. I've been joined by Bazid Khan to talk us through those changes. Baz, 4 changes Zalmi ने किए हैं, 2 Karachi ने किए हैं. Expected था कि Zalmi के point of view से कि इतने changes होंगे?
4 का तो नहीं सोचा था. मेरे ख्याल मैच आई थिंक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है दोनों टीमों के लिए. देखिए, ये जो मैच जीतेगा शायद उसका थोड़ा सा रास्ता बेहतर हो जाए टू क्वालिफाई फॉर द प्लेऑफ्स, क्योंकि 3 टीमें ऐसे लग रही हैं कि शायद स्ट्रगल करेंगी, क्वेटा, कराची और पेशावर भी. तो whoever wins this game has a bit of a head start towards those games. So you want to get your combinations right. And पिंडी में मोस्टली हम ये देखते हैं कि बहुत हाई स्कोरिंग गेम्स होती हैं, तो इवन दैट आपको ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि यू हैव टू हैव मोर ऑप्शंस विद द बॉल.
ठीक है, देखते हैं कि क्या ऑप्शंस हैं दोनों टीम्स के, बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द टीम्स. क्या चेंजेस हुए हैं. एंड सना, पेशावर ज़ल्मी के काफ़ी चेंजेस हुए हैं. यू सेड कि स्पिनर नहीं है उनके पास, उन्होंने मुजीब को वो ले आए हैं. अज़मतुल्लाह उमर ज़ाई इज़ देयर, आमिर जमाल हैज़ कम इन, एंड हसीबुल्लाह खान, द इमर्जिंग प्लेयर, is playing for Peshawar Zalmi.
बिल्कुल मुजीबुर रहमान का बहुत हैरानी थी, जैसे तबरेज़ शम्सी को कराची नहीं खिला रहा था, इस तरह ज़ल्मी ने इनको बाहर बिठाया हुआ था। तो एक मैच विनिंग प्रॉपर मैच विनर है, अच्छी इंडक्शन है इनकी टीम में। अज़मतुल्लाह भी ऑब्वियसली एक अच्छी इंडक्शन है। आमिर जमाल जिनका ताल्लुक भी एबटाबाद से, फास्ट बॉलिंग भी करते हैं और ओवरऑल हार्ड हिटिंग भी करते हैं, ये भी अच्छी एडिशन है। हसीबुल्लाह लेफ्ट और राइट हैंड कॉम्बिनेशन इनका अच्छा रहेगा। उनके सायम अयूब हैं ऊपर और उसके बाद नीचे हसीबुल्लाह आ जाएंगे जो लेफ्ट हैंडर है, तो वो भी थोड़ा तंग कर सकता है इनके स्पिनर्स को कराची किंग्स।
कराची किंग्स के स्पिनर्स ने तो अच्छा किया ही है बाज़त, बट उनकी तरफ से जो एक जो मेन चेंज नजर आया, एक तो एडम रॉजिंगटन आए एंड देन मोहम्मद आमिर हैज कम बैक इंस्टेड ऑफ मूसा खान। एंड एडम रॉजिंगटन का फॉर्म बहुत अच्छा था, साउथ अफ्रीका जो अभी लीग हुई है वहाँ पे ही वाज प्लेइंग द फाइनल।
हाँ, और मेरे ख्याल ये बहुत बड़ा एक बैटल होगा क्योंकि वहाब रियाज, अरशद इकबाल ने पिछले मैच में बॉलिंग अच्छी की। देम अगेंस्ट द टॉप टू दे वांट अ ग्रेट स्टार्ट। विंस का जाना मतलब ज़ाहिर है उसको जाना ही था, लेकिन शायद कराची किंग्स अब सोच रहा होगा एक आधा मैच और खेल जाता, क्योंकि अब उनको नया ओपनर आजमाना पड़ेगा। रॉजिंगटन येस ही इज़ इन गुड फॉर्म, बट सीधा आके HBL PSL में, और स्पेशली I think you have to win the first 6 overs. Now to win the first 6 overs, Rosington has to play well.
He has to play well. थोड़ा सा इनका प्रॉब्लम रहा है ओपनिंग का, शर्जील का फॉर्म and all of that. Obviously we are seeing कि आज Adam Rosington will open for Karachi Kings, but we're talking about star players. तो एक और star player है Karachi Kings का who did really well in that last game. Tabraiz Shamsi spoke to Bazat Khan.
Got Shamsi with me. Tabraiz, the first game you played, everything was brilliant, magical spell. Was it the conditions or just great bowling form?
No, I think it's a bit of everything. The wicket did help the spinners. But then again, you have to put the ball in the right areas and also how the batsmen bat. As a bowler, I'm a big believer in, just focusing on where you land the ball. The rest is obviously up to the batsman. We have to see how the ball reacts off the wicket and what kind of shots the batsman plays. So, yeah, I think it was a bit of everything.
Left arm wrist spin. Not many people bowl that. What's the inspiration behind that, a wide left arm wrist spin?
Well, look, it's a bit of a sad story because I used to be a fast bowler, or I thought I was quick when I was younger. I wanted to open the bowling for South Africa, and then when I got to high school, the coaches said to me, look, my boy, you're not quick enough to be a fast bowler, so I think maybe you should try bowling spin. And, that's how it started. So I think at the age of 14, that's when I started bowling spin.
Any players that you looked up to in terms of wrist spin?
Look, like I said, when I was growing up, I obviously wanted to be a fast bowler. So guys like Chaminda Vas, Wasim Akram in our team, Alan Donald, Sean Pollock, those were my heroes growing up. But then as I started bowling spin, I started watching Brad Hogg, because he was the only left-arm wrist spinner there was in the game, and also Saeed Ajmal, because he was my reference point on how to bowl when someone's spinning the ball into the right-handers. So yeah, not many around, not many to learn from. So those are the type of players that I used to try and watch and try and pick up some tips from.
Now that you've played everywhere in the world, who's the most difficult batter you feel to bowl against? Who picks you well and plays you the best?
I think all the batsmen that we play against are quality batsmen. So it will be hard for me to pinpoint one batsman because everybody is quality. I think it all comes down to execution as a bowler on the day. So that's something that I try and focus on, try and make sure that I'm landing the ball in the right areas. And then, like I said, it's up to the batsmen how they react.
We see that you really enjoy your cricket out there, your celebrations, all that. But once you're away from cricket, what does Tabraiz Shamsi do in his downtime?
Look, obviously the way the cricketing world has changed recently in the last 2 or 3 years because of COVID and stuff. There's a lot of cricket being played. So in my time off, I really love to, spend that time at home with my family and just catch up because there is very limited time that we get to spend at home. So I think that's what really helps me, just getting in touch with my family and just relaxing at home.
Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
ये तो आपकी तरह है ना, फास्ट बॉलर के बाद स्पिनर बन गए, आप भी तो ऐसी थी।
बस कभी मिस नहीं किया फिर, क्योंकि बड़ी मेहनत लगती है फास्ट बॉलिंग में और स्पिन करनी आसान है।
देखे ना, सारी दुनिया अब आपको फॉलो कर रही है। जी बैज प्रेडिक्शंस, ये आपका घर है पिंडी?
नहीं, मेरा घर नहीं है, ज्यादा करीब सना रहती है।
चलो प्रेडिक्शन बता दें कि इन ग्राउंड्स में क्या हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं?
छिक्के, सिर्फ छिक्के।
छिक्के पर छिक्के रख दो ना, जैसे कहते हैं ना, छिक्के रख दो। चलो देखते हैं कि छिक्के कौन रखता है। दैट्स बाजिद फेवरेट लाइन बाय द वे, फॉर दोनों के छिक्के रख दो। सो वी विल हैव टू सी के कौन किसको छिकता है आज, बट आई कैन टेल यू विल बी अ fascinating contest between Peshawar Zalmi and Karachi Kings, and we've got plenty of stars at display as well. All of that after this short break.